Alright, so what's up, guys? Ninja, and I'm going to be doing a response to Rachel Maddow rips own network after MSNBC fires Joy Reid. Now, this is a video that was uploaded by the Rational National, so it's not actually Rachel Maddow that I'm responding to. I mean, partially maybe, but we'll see. It's mostly going to be about Rational National. So, yeah, let's
Of
go.
our non-white hosts in
I am not sorry that I stood up for those things.
both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad.
Primetime MSNBC host Rachel Maddow is speaking out against her own network after the network decided to cancel Joy Reid's show. So in this video, I'm going to play several clips, both from Rachel Maddow, also from Joy Reid and her reaction on a different show after her show was canceled, as well as another reaction from my former MSNBC host, and all the information of what is going on at MSNBC right now, because it is just, there's some changes happening. And there are some interesting through lines with the changes that are being made. One I'll get to later on, which I think is very clear. This one as well, though, is bizarre. As Brandon Friedman writes here, all the folks who exited NBC today seen together. Hoo boy, message received. Interesting that no one here is white. Worth noting, not all of them are leaving the network. All of them had their shows canceled, though. So Jonathan Capehart had his show canceled, but is apparently potentially hosting a different weekend show. Alex Wagner lost her primetime show, but is staying on as a senior legal correspondent. Lester Holt said he is exiting or leaving the anchor role on NBC. He announced this. It's not clear if he was pushed out because his ratings are apparently pretty good, the second most watched evening newscast. So it's not clear what's going on there, but he's staying on NBC as...
See what he's doing? He had multiple posts, multiple links, multiple, like here's proof, here's proof, here's proof, here's proof. I don't like doing that. So that's why I like watching these guys. But what you may notice if you watch me is during the day when I do watch them, I will generally skip most of the shit that they say unless they're directly talking about something. Unless they're specifically showing a video. So
the host, Joy Reid.
I'm just showing you everything here because, yeah.
We'll get to more later. Eamon is also had a show canceled, but is potentially hosting an evening weekend show. And Katie Fang lost her show, but is staying on as a legal correspondent. So all losing their positions here. Now, the replacements include Jen Psaki, who is taking over for Alex Wagner's primetime slot, and the weekend hosts, Alicia Menendez, Michael Steele, and Simone Sanders taking over the Joy Reid slot. So, and by the way, I saw one piece in Mediaite that described these three as very left-leaning. Michael Steele is the former RNC chair. All right, let's not get crazy now. These aren't exactly activists, but I want to get to Rachel Maddow's comments here. So these are. I'm going to split this into two because her other crazy now. These aren't.
That's kind of insane. MSNBC to draw Joy Reid for primetime lineup. The weekend anchors and Jen Psaki eyed for nighttime views their slots. And one was the RNC chair. So they're trying to make the right seem more normal. Okay. All
exactly
right.
Activists.
Makes
but
sense.
I want to get to Rachel Maddow's comments here. So these are, I'm going to split this into two because Her other comments I think are worth playing, but I want to talk about Joy Reid first, so we'll get to the other half of the comments later. But here she is discussing her thoughts on the cancellation of Joy Reid's show.
7 p.m. Eastern, where Joy Reid's show, The Readout, ended tonight. And Joy is not taking a different job in the network. She is leaving the network altogether. And that is very, very, very hard to take. I am 51 years old. I have been gainfully employed since I was 12. And I have had so many different kinds of jobs, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. But in all of the jobs I have had, in all of the years I have been alive, there is no colleague for whom I have had more affection and more respect than Joy Reid. I love everything about her. I have learned so much from her. I have so much more to learn from her. I do not want to lose her as a colleague here at MSNBC. And personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door. It is not my call, and I understand that, but that's what I think. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two, count them, two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Phang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it.
Not really.
I like that.
So, why are they losing the position? What happened? And it matters because if you say, oh, it's because she's not white, but then the person that replaces her is also not white, then your argument falls. Maybe it means something else, and it's kind of important to know what that is, you know?
That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it.
I like that Maddow is in a position now at the network where she's been there long enough, has enough money, is well off enough, where she does not care what the executives at the network are going to think when she directly calls them out for firing and canceling Joy Reid's show. So
I just want to say that what he just said right now, that's how every employee should feel ever. And I think that's what whistleblowers are the benefit for. They get. Like, I'm saying something. Like, when you see something, say something. And they created the whistleblowers situation for, like, it's kind of like, it's like, in a sense, in a way, it's like protective service. Like, they're trying to keep you alive. Like, they hide you away. You're a victim. People may come after you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I forgot what to call it, the word for it, but that's what that is. And like, in a world where if you can't say something, it's not good. So, and that's why they try to tell you when you're a kid, well, certain kids, certain areas of kids and whatnot. Like my TV in my area, was all about being a slut and gangster and breaking the law and drugs, and there's no good shit, basically. Like, you had to reach to find good stuff, basically. Now, there was some good shows, and they were rare, and we all found them, but those are long gone, basically. And they all got replaced by a stupid ass bullshit that, like, things back then will never be how, like, thank God for those shows. Thank God for those old shows, that's all I gotta say. But a lot of the old shows back then will never exist, so I think, like, my street did well because of those, and the kids, like, you could see them, like, the good and the bad, basically. You could see it, which ones actually played along and which ones didn't, as far as what and who and where, as far as, like, shows designed to ruin your life, basically. Like, that was main stage here, and there are some shows that were about, like, making the right decisions, but those tend to be low budget, like, not paid for, made for by just random people. And they got big, don't get me wrong, but they got shut down, is my point. So, and you put that everywhere, and like there's certain neighborhoods that have good TV, and I, there was something about like TikTok, for example. All it is just bullshit, basically, to ruin you. And I heard like in China they don't play that crap. They play only like things that get your mind going, make you think. But out here, it's all about like making you stupid and make you suck. And a lot of Chinese people, I think, are just they're out here to help with make America stupid, basically to ruin Americans, to drag them down. That's what they're doing. So
Going to get to the other half of that
it
clip
seems
later
like
because it has to do with the crews that work on these shows. And as somebody who used to work in broadcast news, it's really good to see a on-air host acknowledge the amount of work it takes behind the scenes to put on a show like that. But I want to first dive a little deeper into what's going on with the Joy Reid firing, because there is an interesting pattern here of people being fired, not just the race pattern, but the issue, a specific issue that a lot of them have been talking about. So Tiffany Cross, who also used to be an MSNBC host, went on this Zoom call and called on black people to dump MSNBC. Quote, don't even hate watch. So there's a larger clip here that I think is worth sharing, worth discussing. She goes on to discuss how there are so few black women in media, both in front of the camera and behind the scenes. But specifically about Joy Reid, she goes on to say this.
We are here to support Joy. Don't believe the hype about the ratings. Her show was doing very well. You know whose ratings ain't doing well, who ain't never got fired? Morning Joe. Joe Scarborough. They went to Kiss the Ring and they are still being elevated. The other, I could say a lot about other ratings, but if you look at them, Joy's show has rated very well. She's always done well. There are people.
What's on Rashad Robinson's head? Dude, take it off. You're in a phone call. What the fuck? Like, you're like spitting on formality. You're not 12 anymore. You're not 18 anymore. You're too old to be like a rebel. You know what I'm saying? Take it off, bro. Like, what the fuck?
People in positions of power who do not like her opinions and truth telling courage when she spoke about what was happening in Gaza, among a lot of other things.
That's it right there. Gaza. I'm going to get to Joy Reid's comments as well, as she also brought this up. Again, not on her show, but in another discussion. So I'll get to that clip shortly here. But this is one of the patterns here. As Crystal Ball pointed out on Twitter, can't say I'm surprised, speaking of Ayman losing his show. Joy, Alex, Ayman, and Mehdi Hassan before were all critical of Israel, and now they've all been canceled. No dissent from the pro-genocide consensus will be tolerated. There is a consistent theme here. I think at this point, as far as I'm aware, only Chris Hayes is left in prime time as somebody who has done a pretty good job criticizing the government of Israel and their mass atrocities, and of course the U.S. government support of those mass atrocities with both political support but also funding of it. It's one clear issue where it is so obvious what is going on, yet so much of the media, of mass media, of legacy media, is unwilling to be clear about the genocide. So Dropsite shared the clip from Joy Reid saying
it seems like they want less people talking about it because they want more influence and less people like involvement. It reminds me of back in the day when they had the war in the Hong Kong, was it? And America was like, get them back. And then America pulled back. I'm sure that there's people that were like, I'm sure, like, don't get me wrong, the soldiers and whatnot were like damaged and whatnot. But I'm just saying that the people wanted the war. It probably lost a lot of money, or they're supposed to gain a lot more than they did when they called it off, basically. So in order to keep that, to make that a thing now, where they control it now and control it in that way, they have to it's discourage people from watching it. So I don't know, but
Joy Reid discussed the cancellation of her MSNBC show during an interview on the Win with Black Women podcast on Monday, saying she is not sorry for her commentary on the network.
it's
Here's
about color.
My show had value, and that I'm sorry that that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And I think this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. And that it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt, that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted and not just Black folks, or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life and defended them, or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books that people find inconvenient, that Nicole Hannah-Jones put into our spirit, that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country, whether it's talking about any of these issues, and yes, whether it's talking about Gaza and the fact that we as the American people have a right to object to little babies being bombed. And where I come down on that is I'm not sorry. I am not sorry that I stood up for those things, because those things are of God. And I'm a church girl too, and those are the things that I was taught were of God. And so I'm not sorry. I'm just
This makes
proud
sense.
of my
This makes sense. It's why my channel, why my YouTube, why my Twitch won't blow up, despite the fact that what I say is groundbreaking. It's fucking huge. It's deep. Despite, it's shit that Joy Reid would talk about. It's things that news people talk about. It's big. It's deep.
show.
Now, I'm going to read into this. I don't know if this is true or not.
Shut up.
But based on how Joy Reid is talking about these topics, how she's discussed many of these issues and focuses on Gaza there, that she got pushed back at the network for doing so. That's how it comes off to me. And it seems like she may feel that maybe that was part of the reason why her show was outright canceled. Now,
It's like the Congo thing.
it is bizarre.
They're trying to control America to keep you dumb, to make you more about TikTok instead of look over here while we'll take all of this other shit. And they're trying to do the same thing in Russia, hey guys, pay attention to that while Russia takes all of this. That's basically going on.
That there has been this pattern.
All the way
also
up, but both parties, both sides, both directions, both everywhere you look. Racist, KKK, controlist, the rich, the powerful. There is so many, and this is why it was so important for the Constitution to be what it was, and why they're so against it, because despite all of this stuff happening in America, there is this documentation in front of us that's despite how you feel, you run the system like this, and the world works for it. So
Obvious that the Trump administration has been putting a lot of pressure on various media, or all media organizations, to sort of bow down to him. And maybe
makes
there
sense,
is this
yeah.
effort up top, not necessarily specifically just about Gaza, but
I think back in the day, I think I had good friends. When I was younger. They got older and changed, and that's where it went bad. When I got older, but when I was younger, it was different. When I was younger, we argue, to the point Like, do I want to do that? No. Why are you over here? Why'd you do that? Well, how come? That's stupid. Why'd you do that? Why are you going over there? What did she want? Well, how come? And we get to it, and we always, no matter what it was, we get to it. And that would change. That's now there's no discussions of really getting into it anymore, and that's the kind of shit I miss. Like, me and my friend were the best at arguing, Yeah, man, fuck.
About critical commentary generally. And I guess one way to sort of sanitize that for Trump is to make the audience or make the hosts on air more white, or at least take away the individuals who are not
No.
white, that are more critical.
No, the problem is
both
there's
of
white
Trump and
there's white supremacists that are taking advantage of the situation. There's a lot of shit at play right now. It's not, A is not because of B. It's A is because C, and as long as C is a problem, B gets away with the murder. You know what I'm saying?
of issues such as the Israeli government and those mass atrocities. Again, I don't know. I'm spitballing here. It's unclear, obviously, as to why her show was canceled, considering
No,
the
you're
rate.
not spitballing. You're repeating things have somebody else has said. I'm spitballing.
Things, considering that she was well loved clearly within the network. Having been someone who's been critical of media for almost a decade at this point, seeing Joy Reid go from where she once was, who was somebody who was, I would say, not very critical at all of power, to somebody who has been, I think, fantastic in the past several years, has really been something to witness. To see somebody be able to evolve.
What do you
on
mean?
air.
She didn't speak to power, and then she became fantastic later. So does that mean she started to speak to power? Is that what it is?
Or like that, as they gain more power. Usually it's the opposite. Usually you get a show, you gain more power within, a certain position, and you sanitize yourself. Joy Reid's gone in the opposite direction, where the more power she's gotten within the network, she's gotten more bolder in her decisions to talk.
She grew up. A lot of that's why Elon Musk has kids running his markets, because they're willing to sell out because they don't know better. That's why he gets kids involved. It's because they don't know. That's why a lot of people. That's why the government
Talk
made
about
it,
these issues in a way that
That's why the government made it where you had to be 18 to start a relationship, or you're not allowed to sleep with anybody unless they're older than 18. They did that for a reason. And that reason was to protect them. And again, they didn't know better. That was the problem. That's the thing. That's the situation. That's the deal for them. For them, that's what it is. And you're talking about Joy Reid and mentions about Joy Reid and the situation with her. It's basically the same thing. Like, the whole reason why she did so well is because she didn't say anything. Now she's saying something, and now they noticed. And like, this is the problem I had. So I get shut down. It's because I'm saying something from the start. So they shut me down from the start. Whereas if I was kissing ass and kissing the ring, I would be famous right now. Like I said, if I sold out, I would pop off and be the shit. We're just seeing it all the way up now.
that very few other anchors on air are doing. So it's been wonderful to watch that, and to then
really?
only see her show get canceled after all that is disheartening. Peter Beinhart sharing this on Twitter.
It's
Years
not
from now, Joy
disheartening.
Reid will be able to hold her head.
See, the reason why you, for example, still stand out is because you don't have any original ideas. All you do is just post and share things that people have posted and shared. Like, a lot of people in the government, or not in the government, but in the media, basically, all they're doing is just sharing what has already been said, basically, and you're taking their thunder. Basically, that's all you're doing, and so you are getting all of these followers because you keep the masses just swimming. You're kind of a bot to yourself, and all you're doing is you just all, like, cards are moving and you're giving cards their gas. All they're doing, right? But things are just happening, It doesn't matter. And the thing is, there's somebody controlling you, and you're just playing along, and you have no idea about what's going on. Whereas me, I'm looking straight up, like, what the fuck? And that's why I won't stand. I won't rise, basically. And the only way I will rise is grassroots, basically, because that's what it takes.
Head
As
high
I've always said.
because of what she said about Gaza.
I think I originally I have 380 followers. The whole reason why I have them is because while I was playing, I was able to keep people in line, keep them stupid, basically, in League of Legends or in StarCraft, to keep them playing along, to keep them dumb, and keep them away from the top, basically keep them busy. To keep them down, and that's why I rose up, because I kept other people down, and that's what makes everyone else rise and popular. That's why so and so becomes a champion, because they keep everyone else stupid, they keep everyone else down, basically. And Joy Reid finally spoke truth to power, and she got pushed down right away. That's what it is.
All journalists will.
Basically, it is.
Very true. I'm going to end on a couple of MSNBC clips here, so forgive me, but they're good clips. So this is the opening of Joy Reid's final show, and I think this is evergreen.
We begin tonight with what I think is the question. When you are in the midst of a crisis, and specifically a crisis of democracy, how do you resist? When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here. So what, if anything, can you do about it? Well, for one thing, you can try to learn from history, from what people in this situation in countries around the world and in America have done before. As my friend Rachel Maddow always says, history is here to help. America hasn't always been a free country for everyone, and we've had resistance movements from day one. From enslaved people fighting their captivity. Shout out to Harriet Tubman, who was a 92%er before 92%ing was cool. And even taking up arms during the Civil War. To the women's movement and the workers' rights movement and the Stonewall gay rights movement. They've all been versions of the fight to make this a free country for everyone and to have a true multiracial democracy. And that is history's most important lesson, right? That the most important thing, the first rule, is to fight back, to never stop resisting. Do not obey in advance, as Tim Snyder put it. Do not take the knee, to throw in a Game of Thrones reference. Even if it's scary or uncomfortable or inconvenient, just keep saying no, or finding creative ways to say no in small ways and large.
Not no. You say why.
Edgar Evers said, do not shop where they will not employ you. Dr. King championed the Montgomery bus boycotts to become the leader of the civil rights movement. The labor rights movement shut down factories and hobbled industries to win the 40-hour work week that you enjoy right now, and more recently to ensure the right of workers to work from home
that we
during
enjoy
COVID.
Right now.
People
no. The fact is, the husband used to make enough to feed the mother and the father, but it basically came down to the point where now the wife has to work just for you to make ends meet. So
against the Vietnam War and the war in Iraq and against the decimation of Gaza, using our tax dollars. You don't always win every battle, but the whole thing is about resisting.
Just a little taste there of Joy Reid's final episode. That is a great opening and a real breakdown of how important it is to fight. Joy Reid's voice, as I said, I think has become more important over the years as she has spoken up about these issues in a way.
Yeah, go ahead, still more thunder.
That very few other people in that position have.
I've always said, and these things. No, you haven't. Shut up.
I think she's going to be fine. You see Mehdi Hassan with his new network, Sateo. He's doing fantastic. They're starting new shows like Bowman and Bush with Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman, two former left-leaning Congress people. So I could potentially see Joy Reid ending up at a place like that, but I think she's going to be fine. There's going to be people that are going
That's not the point, dude.
Of that. Not workers.
One thing
about what the executives think and standing up for the workers there.
But one thing you cannot necessarily see is that the people who get our shows on the air, they're really being put through the ringer. Dozens of producers and staffers, including some who are among the most experienced and most talented and most specialist producers in the building, are facing being laid off. They're being invited to reapply for new jobs. That has never happened at this scale in this way before when it comes to programming changes, presumably because it's not the right way to treat people, and it's inefficient and it's unnecessary, and it kind of drops the bottom out of whether or not people feel like this is a good place to work, and so we don't generally do things that way. Maybe all of our folks, including most of the people who are getting this very show on the air right now, maybe they will all get new jobs here, and I hope they do, but in the meantime, being put in this kind of limbo, the anxiety and the discombobulation is off the charts at a time when this job already is extra stressful and difficult. It is not news for me to tell you that the press of the no, cover and be resilient and stay here forever. People
going against like a mass walkout, maybe a general strike organized by someone like, I don't know, the UAW president, Sean Fain, who has already been discussing such a thing. So, look, I don't want to go off on a different topic here, but a general strike could do a lot for society.
And again,
reminding the ownership class who actually holds the power, the workers are the only
reason why you're talking about the strikes is because somebody else is talking about it first. Shocking. I know, right? But anyways, that's it. I need to go eat. I will probably... Oops. Okay. I'll go eat. I'll probably be back later. Yeah, I kind of like this. I think I finally found myself, basically. And what it was is just, I'm the leader, not a leader, but the leader. Like, yeah. You know, I can't be no basic boy. I can't be like a dog or any of the sort, because I can't fake it. Now I have a cause. Now I have the real deal. Now I'm actually the real thing. So, anyways, that's it. That's all I gotta say. So be well, be happy, be safe. And again, speak power to truth like I have. That's why I will never take off. And again, grassroots is the only way I'll ever be. So with that, that's really all I had to say. Grassroots is what I am. It's what I will always be. It's the control of the world. We're singing more and more and more, but hopefully it's not too late. I have 380 followers on Twitch, basically, at a time when I think I contributed to helping the masses stay stupid and stay obedient. And George Carlin said it before, and I gotta say, I'm a little like he is too. Like yeah, it's crazy, man. Anyways, I'm out. I'm hungry, so I'll be back later. But peace.